At Equitus, we offer advanced edge analytics intelligence platforms designed to collect, transform, and combine your data into a powerful analytic environment to support your intelligence activities. Today, we are going to look at how the Equitus product line works together to provide an analyst and an organization with a holistic view of their problem set. For the purposes of this video, we analyzed Iran's influence in Iraq and Syria through the activities of various Iranian-backed proxies operating in the region. To do this, we used multiple interconnecting systems in the Equitus suite. Equitus Social Insight is an OSINT platform that extracts data from millions of sites while applying advanced analytics to provide a comprehensive view of the opinions and experiences of populations. Equitus Text Analytics offers the unparalleled ability to transform massive amounts of unstructured text into highly structured data through the identification of entities and the relationships within. Equitus Intelligence is an end-to-end solution for both big data and multi-source intelligence, including an open standard information store that acts as an old-time repository for a user's data while aggregating data collected from other systems in the Equitus lineup or other platforms already in your inventory. Equitus Visual Ops generates a live and ongoing common operating picture that connects to any coordinate-linked dataset or imagery, fusing it geospatially and temporally while providing advanced analytics and visualizations of the data. Using these systems, we were able to collect and aggregate different sources of data while conducting varying depths of analysis to generate new insights and to create a common operating picture for our problem set. This common operating picture built using Equitus Visual Ops combines static, dynamic, and social media data. Like any geo platform, we started by adding known data. The system can store over 200 different data formats, but for this demo, we simply added data outlining power lines in Syria and primary routes in Iraq to provide some perspective on the infrastructure in the countries. Then, to demonstrate the ability to import ad hoc data, we added a spreadsheet of Iranian facilities located in Syria represented by the Iranian flag. Additionally, since this demo is focused on the activities of groups operating in the region, we can add conflict data that contains recorded events in the countries. These events have been aggregated from a wide variety of sources. Although previously unstructured, the data has been structured, recognizing actors and other pertinent information. Next, we want to view and understand the opinions and experiences of the populations in this country. Using Equitus Social Insight, we collected nearly 500,000 posts surrounding our problem set. These posts have been clustered to show the volume of social media activity originating from different areas in the country. However, using the system, we were able to do sentiment analysis into the posts and summarize the overall sentiment expressed based on the districts in the countries. With data added, we can use the timeline to visualize how the data and our problem set evolves over time. This provides quick perspective into shifts in volume or characteristics of the social media activity, such as changes in the sentiment expressed by the populations. But where did all this data come from? The Equitus platform contains many ways to acquire, import, or transform data to be used in your intelligence work. To get the right OSINT, we started by building a project in Equitus Social Insight to collect social media data of conversations surrounding these various Iranian proxies. The majority of data collected originated from news sources, but a sufficient number represent these social media postings from individuals with direct interaction with the problem set. In this case, over 150,000 individual posts were collected from social media platforms since the beginning of the year. Of the social media posts we collected, a location was detected for more than a quarter of the authors. Not all social media posts can be geolocated, but the platform will assign coordinates where it can find sufficient metadata to do so. The geospatially tagged data can now be plotted onto our common operating picture for further analysis and data fusion. Now let's do some deeper analysis into the data we collected. From Social Insight's Analyst Workbench, we can take a deeper look at our data using various analytics and visualizations accompanied with drill down and complex filtering options. If we want to understand which militia is talked about most in the social sphere, we can drill down into our data to reveal various breakdowns from sentiment and sources to even the individual concepts we collected data for. We can see from this breakdown that the Popular Mobilization Forces, or PMF, comprises the majority of data, primarily due to a spike in conversations surrounding the topic at the beginning of the year, following an airstrike that killed the deputy commander of the group. We can also see that the Hezbollah Brigades, or KH, garners about 15% of the conversation. Around March 13th, the concept increased drastically in conversation. Social Insight allows an analyst at any point to see the snippets or pieces of textual evidence that creates the visualizations. By looking at the post, we can understand the context behind the spike, in this case, reporting in reactions to a military airstrike targeting the group. However, we can do deeper analysis than simple pie charts and trend lines. Affinities analysis allows an analyst to compare the relationship between any two dimensions of the data itself. For example, if we are interested in messaging, we can create a matrix that will allow us to identify the best rhetoric to use towards a group or individual that the target audience will understand. Squares are color-coded based on the strength of the affinity relationship. Looking at a figure like Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of the Hezbollah party, we can see that based on the social media data collected, terms like criminal, donkey, puppet, snake, and terrorist have a strong association with the concept. A truly unique set of analytics offered by Equitus Social Insight is Evolving Topics, which uses a technique known as thematic clustering to look for common topics across all the data collected. Using thematic clustering, Evolving Topics groups data based on commonalities such as keywords and phrases found within. This provides unique insight into the underlying themes of conversations that contain the words and phrases that we were looking for, in this case Iranian-backed proxies. The results are then visualized in a dynamically generated word river that provides true perspective on what the conversations are really about and how they form over time. The data collected in Equitus Social Insight can then be ingested into Equitus Text Analytics for correlation building between posts. When files are ingested into the system, various entities will be recognized within, such as people, places, and groups. These entities are then related to each other, allowing for link chart analysis. Let's look at the network surrounding the Hezbollah brigades. You'll see various connections to social media accounts which have mentioned the group. If the data allows, these accounts can be expanded on to reveal their social networks, allowing us to understand other accounts they may be influencing through their social media activity. We can expand further on the militia for other connecting entities, such as armed groups the Hezbollah brigades may have relations to. For any given relationship, we can easily see the source to understand the context behind why the relationship was built. So far, we have only relied on data collected from Social Insight to provide information on the group. OSINT is made even more powerful when combined with other types of intelligence, so let's do that. In this case, we'll add supplemental data from reports and other intelligence sources that are readily available to the organization. Equitus Text Analytics ingests any text-based file type, over 1,500 different file types including Word documents, PDFs, and even PowerPoints. After adding in a sample of reports that we have on militia groups, we can navigate back to our network and look at the Hezbollah Brigade's entity again. Right away, we will see newly discovered links to the militia from the data we added, including leadership and even events between the group and other armed groups or locations. Keep in mind that we did not have to manually mark up the documents. The system automatically performed entity recognition and correlated data points between the data sources. We can go a step further and instantly add additional open source information easily through text analytics using what is known as the harvester. Let's look at the entity Mustafa Al-Kadhimi. You'll see that we have already started to build somewhat of a profile on the individual, but we are still missing some information. If we go to the harvester, we can place his name into the search bar and click harvest. What this is going to do is anonymously search for his name using a selected search engine. The system will then navigate to each of the pages in the search results, analyze the text content on the page for the entities and relationships within, and continue even further by clicking on any links on that page. By using the harvester, we can perform ad hoc data acquisition to collect a stockpile of documents from a single search term or URL. After running our harvest, we can go back to that same militia and add it to our network to see the new information found on the individual harvested on. This time you'll see that Mustafa Al-Kadhimi now has a picture associated with him, as well as additional attributes such as titles and positions found in the new data. He also has many more entities associated with him, such as locations like Iraq and Baghdad that came from data describing him as the prime minister of the country. Because of text analytics entity deduplication capabilities, the system knew that the Mustafa Al-Kadhimi we were looking at before running the harvest was the same as the entity found in the newly acquired documents. Now that we have combined our OSINT data with other types of intelligence data, we can move over to the intelligence platform. For today's demonstration, we'll interface with our intelligence platform using a familiar tool, in this case IBM's Analyst Notebook. Equitus Intelligence includes its own browser-based suite of tools, but for demonstration purposes, we are going to look at the desktop client. Equitus Intelligence is more than an intelligence tool. It's a true open standard big data intelligence store that acts as your organization's repository of known data. Using the information store, we can conduct searches for any instance of data. As an example, we can do a simple query for the same militia and see what data is contained in the information store about this group. You'll see a variety of entity types are returned, as our search will not only look at the name of the entity instance, but also any attributes for a possible match. The system is also smart enough to detect potential misspellings. I'll go ahead and filter to only return the military units. Now that I have found the group I am interested in, I can add it to the graph for analysis. From here, I can expand on the entity for any connecting subjects such as affiliations with the popular mobilization forces. Let's take it a step further and expand on that group. You'll see various entities now added to the chart, including events and other military units. With this data, we have multiple analytics options such as the ability to use histograms and heat maps to summarize the entities based on their attributes and connections. For example, we can create a histogram that compares volume events over time. If we hit play, we can see the relative entities highlighted on the chart corresponding to each series. If we stop on a particular series, we can expand on the given entities to see other subjects involved, in this case military units and locations. Any entity can be clicked on to see the attributes associated with the instance. This allows us to edit or add attributes to the record if necessary. You'll notice the presence of locational entities in this dataset as well. That can then be plotted onto our common operating picture as previously shown. By providing analytics solutions to complex problem sets, the Equitus platform enables organizations to make better decisions while maintaining privacy and security.